The Whispering Shadows. In the heart of the sprawling forest, where the trees stood tall and ancient, there lay a hidden glen shrouded in darkness. Few dared to venture into its depths, for it was said to be cursed by the spirits of the restless dead. On a moonless night, a group of friends gathered around a crackling campfire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. They laughed and joked, unaware of the horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of their campsite. As the night wore on and the fire burned low, one of the friends, a young woman named Sarah, suggested they go for a midnight stroll through the forest. Eager for adventure, the group agreed, and they set off into the darkness, their footsteps echoing in the silence of the night. But as they wandered deeper into the forest, a sense of unease settled over them like a shroud. The air grew thick with an otherworldly chill, and the sound of rustling leaves seemed to echo in the stillness. Suddenly, a strange mist began to rise from the forest floor, swirling and twisting in the moonlight. The group watched in horror as shadowy figures emerged from the mist, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. With a collective cry of terror, the friends turned and ran, their hearts pounding in their chests as they fled through the darkness. But no matter how fast they ran, the shadows seemed to follow, their whispered voices taunting and tormenting them with promises of eternal damnation. As they stumbled blindly through the forest, they came upon an ancient graveyard hidden among the trees. Tombstones rose from the ground like silent sentinels, their inscriptions faded with age. With nowhere left to run, the friends huddled together in the darkness, their breath coming in ragged gasps as they waited for the inevitable. And then, with a deafening roar, the shadows descended upon them, their spectral forms enveloping the group in an icy embrace. As the darkness consumed them, the forest fell silent once more, the only sound the whispering of the wind through the trees. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, there was no sign of the friends who had dared to venture into the haunted depths of the Whispering Shadows. The first light of dawn cast eerie shadows over the forest, illuminating the ancient trees and the silent graveyard where the friends had vanished. The air was heavy with the weight of their absence, and a sense of foreboding hung in the stillness. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting its golden rays through the canopy of leaves, a lone figure emerged from the depths of the forest. It was a young woman, her face pale and drawn with exhaustion, her eyes haunted by the horrors she had witnessed. Her name was Emily, and she was the sole survivor of the ill-fated expedition into the Whispering Shadows. She had managed to escape the clutches of the shadows, but she knew that she would never truly be free from the terror that had consumed her friends. With trembling hands, Emily made her way through the forest, her mind consumed by thoughts of what had happened. She couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows were still watching her, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As she reached the edge of the forest, Emily stumbled upon a small clearing bathed in sunlight. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak tree, its branches reaching up toward the sky like gnarled fingers. With a sense of desperation, Emily sank to her knees beside the tree, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she tried to make sense of what had happened. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she mourned the loss of her friends, their faces etched into her memory like ghosts from the past. But even as she grieved, a voice whispered in the back of her mind, urging her to leave the forest behind and never look back. She knew that she could never forget what had happened, but she also knew that she couldn't let the shadows consume her soul. With a newfound sense of determination, Emily rose to her feet and turned her back on the forest, leaving behind the Whispering Shadows and the horrors that dwelled within its depths. As she walked away, she vowed to never speak of the darkness she had witnessed, to bury it deep within her heart and try to move on with her life. But deep down, she knew that the memories would never truly fade. They would linger in the shadows of her mind, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of reality. And as she walked away from the forest, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows were still watching her, waiting for the perfect moment to reclaim what had been taken from them. But she refused to be consumed by fear. She would face whatever came her way with courage and resilience, knowing that she had survived the Whispering Shadows and emerged stronger because of it. As Emily emerged from the forest, the weight of her ordeal hung heavy on her shoulders. She stumbled into the clearing, her legs weak and trembling with exhaustion. The sunlight warmed her skin, but it offered little solace against the chill that had settled in her bones. She collapsed onto the soft grass, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she tried to steady her racing heart. Tears continued to flow unchecked down her cheeks as she mourned the loss of her friends, their faces etched into her mind like fading memories. But amid the grief and fear, a flicker of determination ignited within her. She refused to let the darkness consume her, to let it define her existence. She would honor the memory of her friends by living her life to the fullest, by facing each day with courage and resilience. With a deep breath, Emily pushed herself to her feet, her resolve firming with each step she took away from the forest. She knew that she couldn't erase the horrors she had witnessed, but she could choose how to move forward from them. As she walked, Emily's thoughts turned to the whispers that had haunted her in the forest. They had echoed in her mind, taunting and tormenting her with promises of doom. But now, in the light of day, she realized that they held no power over her. With each passing moment, the memories of the whispering shadows began to fade, replaced by the warmth of the sun and the gentle rustle of the wind through the trees. Emily felt a sense of peace wash over her, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness that had threatened to consume her. As she reached the edge of the clearing, Emily paused to look back at the forest one last time. The ancient trees stood silent and unmoving, their branches reaching toward the sky like silent sentinels. She knew that she would carry the memory of the whispering shadows with her always, but she also knew that she was stronger because of it. With a final glance, Emily turned away from the forest and continued on her journey, her heart filled with determination and hope for the future. She didn't know what lay ahead, but she knew that she would face it with courage and resilience, knowing that she had overcome the darkness and emerged into the light once more.